Pavios. How are you doing? Could you move your legs right quick? I need to hide under your desk. Pavios stared at me open-mouthed, giving me an unappetizing view of his partially chewed Limburger cheese and tuna salad sandwich. Pavios had a habit of eating the same smelly thing for lunch every day at his desk, much to the dismay of his human Royal Scottish Bank colleagues. For that reason, along with his questionable personal hygiene, his RSB office mates had taken to calling him Stench behind his back. I, however, was beyond grateful that Stench, or Pavios, as he was called by the less nose-sensitive workers on our floor, was oblivious to the wall of smell surrounding him. In fact, it was precisely why I'd ambushed the hapless IT guy in the first place. Unfortunately, Pavios was taking way too long to respond to my request, and I only had a few seconds to hide before he showed up. There was no time for explanations. I yanked at the seat back of Pavios's wheeled office chair, effectively shoving it and Pavios out of the way, and dove beneath his desk. I scrambled as far back into the small space as I could, tucking my Jimmy Choos beneath me. The desk base was dimly lit, and whoa, extremely pungent. I spotted the church brand loafers on the dark blue carpet next to me. Pavios must have kicked them off when he sat down. Well, that explained the extra layer of stink. Once this situation was over, I vowed to pull Pavios aside and urge him to get his hands on a tube of antifungal cream and at least 2 cans of Odor Eater shoe spray. Most humans in my current position would be trying hard not to gag or vomit, but my shifter senses relied on scent to gather important data about my surroundings. That meant I could handle any number of smells that were often too offensive for humans to bear full on. And Pavios, hands down, had the most intense scent of anyone in the office. I sent up a silent prayer that the combination of Stench's stench and the Kind Wolf neutralizing fragrance I always wore would be enough to mask my smell from the incoming mega problem I wasn't nearly ready to face. "Don't tell him I'm down here," I instructed Pavios in as loud a whisper as I dared with him nearby. "Tell who? What's this all about then?" Pavios started to ask, but then he broke off to exclaim, "Grevens! Is that Magnus Scotswolf? Aye, it is. Right here in the technology and auditing floor. What's he doing here?" "Don't tell him I'm here." With that command, I wrapped a hand around the steel stem of Pavios's rolling chair and yanked it towards me, forcing him into a wedged-in seated position that wouldn't allow him to stand up to get a better look at the male I could smell rapidly approaching the cubicle. I needed it to look like the IT guy was simply eating lunch at his desk, not talking to the she-wolf hiding underneath it. "Have you seen Tara Hamilton?" a voice asked only a few milliseconds later. It was low and commanding, with a ridiculously thick Highland brogue. You're Magnus Scotswolf," Pavios sputtered instead of answering the question. "Aye, that's me," the deep and officious voice replied. "I'm looking for Tara Hamilton. According to your office mates by the lift, she was last seen heading in this direction. Did you see her?" "You're Magnus Scotswolf! Magnus Scotswolf!" Pavios repeated. His voice was only a few registers below that of a prepubescent girl, and it sounded like he was on the verge of passing out. "Aye, right again, mate. Now, could you tell me where? I heard you might reach 100 caps this season." A pause. Then, "The only argument I have with that statement is the word might. Now, do you think you can point me in the direct? Magnus Scotswolf is here, at my desk, talking to me? Me?" Pavios began to make a sound I could only describe as a cross between a wheeze and a scream.